Hello, this is Benjamin Fulford speaking on September 5th, 2025. A serious power struggle is going on, and it looks like we're all going to have to take action in order to make this thing happen. A couple of days ago, I phoned the press office of Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada to try to get an opportunity to present some Dragon family documents to the Canadian government. They have ignored me, and this is a serious insult to the Dragon family that will not go unanswered. So we are now demanding that Mark Carney meet me in person for a debate to discuss the future of Canada and this planet. I am hereby formally challenging him for power, because he was not elected as Prime Minister. He was selected. He was chosen by a bunch of Freemasons who then stole the election to create the result. But unfortunately, it looks like he is being blackmailed or for something, because he is not going along with the program we all decided on, which is to create a future planning agency. So you have been warned, and you know from your sources that this is real. These are real people, and they're not going to let this insult go unanswered. So we'll give you until September 11th to formally reply to us. And I think that September 11th date is a good date for a lot of people to make a lot of demands, to see if we can't use that as a new date to throw things overboard. Speaking about which, we now need to talk about U.S. President Donald Trump. I was sent this video here, which I want you to watch.
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the media. They've been very nice lately, although I'm still here. So we have to... They made a couple of bad predictions. So that was not good. I've never had that feeling before. I went to an event, and people are coming up to me and saying, "You're still here." I said, "What do they mean by that? I didn't hear about this." But anyway.
It shows Trump with Melania, and it does look like the real Melania, and he's saying, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere," which is fine and good, but it's still clear that this one, even though they're sitting beside each other, he's shorter than Melania. So what it looks like has happened is the white hats have taken the Trump avatar, the short fat one, and are starting to use it for their own purposes. And we can see that with the comment they posted about Operation Warp Speed, where basically they're saying, well, we thought we were trying to protect everybody, but if it turns out we were lied to, we're not going to cover that up anymore. So they're covering their own asses while at the same time going after the vaccine murderers. And that's a good sign that this new Trump, or this old Trump reading a new script with Melania at his side, is a sign the white hats are back in control. But to confirm, this is not the original 6'3", 190 centimeter Trump. Take a look at the video of this Trump standing beside the Polish President Rocky. Pardon me if I didn't pronounce that right. Now Rocky is 5'10", and this Trump is clearly about the same height. So it still looks like the American people have lost their president, and a group is trying to keep the pretense of him being alive, because there's so much money and power involved in having that presidential signature that can authorize all these funds. And that's what I think you'll see is going on with all these tech people gathering in the White House, pledging huge amounts of money. They're saying we're going to relaunder all this Fed funny money in the United States, basically. But take a look at the clip, and you'll see what I mean.
I'd like to say a few words about the company.
Well, thanks for hosting us. And this is quite a group to get together.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to work here at the White House and to work for you.
Very grateful for your administration support.
We look forward to working together, and thanks for your leadership.
We're so grateful for that support.
Thank you so much, obviously, for bringing us all together, and the policies that you have put in place. Thank you very much. And also, I wanted to thank Madam First Lady for hosting.
I want to thank you for including me this evening.
It's incredible to be among everyone here, particularly you and the First Lady. I also want to thank you for helping American companies around the world.
First of all, to echo the comments of Tim and others, thank you so much for getting us all together, and thank you for being such a pro-business, pro-innovation president.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you for incredible leadership, including getting this group together.
Thank you, Bill. That was very nice.
Now is they can translate like Hitler.
Mark, would you like to say a few words about the company?
Well, thanks for hosting.
So, you know, the West is going through a lot of trouble, but I think we really are going to see some kind of revolution in Western Europe this fall. Now, I think the situation in Germany is going to be especially interesting because the opposition AfD is almost certainly going to win the next election, and there's a lot of pressure to hold an election soon. The establishment have been killing AfD candidates right, left, and center. I believe more than 16, but they're not going to be able to murder their way out of this. And to understand what sort of mind shift is happening in Germany, please take a look at this clip of an ad put out by the AfD. I don't think, I know from their comments and their other things, they're not racist per se, but what they are saying is the elites have deliberately flooded our country with military-age, non-Christian men who appear to be getting a salary from somewhere and who are causing a huge, jump in crime rates. And a lot of them are welfare bums who are bankrupting the country. And that's something that needs to be said. You can't just pretend this stuff isn't happening because you're going to be called racist. This is nothing about racist. This is about people behaving the way they're supposed to or not behaving the way they're supposed to. And when you have a bunch of antisocial people who come into your country and causing crimes, my advice to the Germans is that with very few exceptions, most immigrants who are now on welfare should be asked to get a job or leave. That's what I would do. Then you can get the useful ones and get rid of the criminal trash that came along with them. In any case, there's also going to be something happening in the UK for sure, because it turns out they arrested 12,000 people in the UK in 2023 for things they wrote online. This is not the England of the Magna Carta, where your leaders can arrest you for no good reason whatsoever. This is something very serious, and we know that Keir Starmer is one of the blackmailed pedophiles from Epstein Island, and that is not going to go away. He's going to be removed. Same with Merz in Germany. He's going to be removed. And well, Mark Carney, I think your time is running out. Our patience is running out, and we're going to out you as a criminal who got placed by a stolen election unless you move out. But in France too, we're getting calls from French intelligence saying, please do not have Emmanuel Macron killed, because even though Macron is now a puppet reading a script, he holds the presidential authority, which gives the white hats an opportunity to use him to make serious changes in France. So they want to keep him there as an image so that they can carry out the constitutional changes they need to fix the problems France now has. So we're leaving it up to them. But we'd like to hear from the people who have this new Trump reading his script. We'd like to talk to them. But I think they should understand that Western leadership right now is in serious trouble. What are they saying? What are they telling our people? They're saying, Iran's going to threaten us, so we have to start a war with them. Or Venezuela, we got to have a war with them. Or there's a horrible new disease that's going to kill everybody. Stuff like that. They're not saying what kind of future do we want, what kind of world do we want to live in. And I think it was a deliberate hot mic moment that I believe billions of people have seen. You probably already seen it too, but I think you should watch this clip of Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping talking about immortality.
人类的器官会不断的移植，甚至越活越年轻，甚至会长生不老。预测呢，本世纪呢，可能未来可以活到150岁。
That is exactly what we have been talking about. If we can take control of the financial system away from this satanic group that's trying to kill us, we can dedicate the funds necessary to make immortality a reality and turn this planet into heaven on earth. That's what we're trying to do. But if they continue to stand in the way, they will learn the lesson that was learned by the king of Khwarezm when he was rude to Genghis Khan's emissaries. The results of refusal of this generous offer will be catastrophic. Well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. We are seeing massive Eat the Rich style riots in Indonesia, and it looks like soon to be the Philippines as well. Are these corrupt individuals in Indonesia part of the KM or just regular corrupt individuals?
What I've been told is that the KM is trying to organize attacks against the Chinese as a part of a fight of Chinese-U.S. influence over Indonesia. But it is funded from overseas, but they try to take real problems that exist and use them as a lever to start regime change. But it does look like, well, my sources who are actually in Indonesia tell me it is a foreign-funded attempt to overthrow the current Indonesian regime, and the Chinese appear to be the target of most of the attacks. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Could you comment on the renewed likelihood of World War III? Today's news, France is ordering hospitals to be prepared.
Well, we're dealing with an elite that has been caught in the act of trying to murder us all, and they still have some weapons. So I wouldn't call it World War III. I'd call it more of a hostage situation, where we've got to get these people to stand aside from their weapons of mass destruction and hand over power without destroying the planet. So that's why it's taking so long, but that's the real problem. However, I assure you that at the highest level, the militaries of the U.S., North Korea, Russia, China, they all agree that we're not going to be fooled into starting all-out thermonuclear war and destroying the planet. That's not going to happen this time. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Who do you think these Satanists are? Do you think they're human? Do you really think a few hundred Satanists are controlling the world? Wouldn't they need thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of low-level people?
My understanding is that there's about 1 million of them, and a lot of them are concentrated in high levels of power, which is why it's taking so long. Now, they themselves, of course, they say that our God is Lucifer, it's not Satan, and that Lucifer is actually the good guy, and God's the bad guy, and all sorts of stuff like that. But the problem is, it is a network that has used bribery, blackmail, murder, and lies to seize power over civilian governments in the West. And now you cannot become a president or a prime minister unless they have a videotape of you raping a little boy or strangling a little girl. And that's why we need to remove all the leaders to put an end to this system. But yeah, years of fighting these people and talks with Japanese military intelligence and other sources say there's about 1 million of them. So there's 16 million Jews or so. A lot of them pretend to be Jews, but just to make it clear, this is not a Jewish problem, but these are the ancient enemies of the Jews, and there's a lot of them, and they're very powerful, and we should not underestimate them, but we will remove them from power. Okay, next question.
Hi, Ben. In a recent interview, the CEO of Palantir, Dr. Alex Carl, said, and I quote, "I hate the enemies of Palantir. I'm going to fuck these people." Is this guy referring to the human race? Because in my opinion, the enemy of Planeteer is the human race.
Well, the enemy is sheeple who will not obey their technocratic rule, I think is the answer. My advice for what the average person can do is
In which a 3-year-old was raped and a father shot. What kind of dystopian nightmare are we living in, and how long can we expect this to last?
well, hopefully not much longer. I have some stuff I'm going to write about this Ford character in my next report, but he's definitely a cabal implant.